Hey y'all, my name is Victoria. I work here at Crema as a barista, as our social media superstar, and most importantly, as our resident comedian. Except I don't get paid for that. I mostly get eye rolls. Today, we're here to talk about all things iced coffee. Because let's face it, it's really hot outside. And although we all love our perfectly brewed cup of joe in the morning, it is simply not practical for about 3 months out of the year in Tennessee specifically. But the good news for us is that there's plenty of ways to brew a delightful cup of coffee cold so that we can stay refreshed all summer long and not hate our lives. So here we go. So the first type of iced coffee that we are going to talk about is cold brew. We don't serve cold brew in our cafes, but you can still make it at home. It's a really easy way to make kind of a bigger batch of iced coffee. Cold brew is a method of brewing coffee in cold water for a long amount of time. And if you watched our last video, you would know that water temperature plays a big part in the brewing process and how fast coffee extracts. In a hot cup of coffee, you use hot water to properly brew the coffee in about a 3-minute time frame. Here we're using cold water, which will not extract the coffee as fast, so we make up for that in letting it steep for a long amount of time. In cold brew, we also use a very coarse grind. That also helps to slow down the extraction process as well. Because of these two factors, the cold brew method produces a very kind of thicker, heavier bodied coffee. A lot of people tend to like it because it's not very acidic. It tends to be a little more smooth. It is also important to note that you can still risk over extraction with cold brew if you let it steep for too long. And while it does tend to have a smoother and kind of milkier texture, you do also lose out on a little bit of the complexity that we love with a lot of our coffees when they're brewed faster with hot water. If you want to make cold brew at home, it's very easy. All you need is a glass jar. We do a 1-to-5 ratio for cold brew. So we've got 100 grams of coffee and 500 grams of water. This has been steeping for about 13 hours. That is kind of a nice time range for you to be in. Some people go up to 24 or 48 hours, and we would not suggest that. It'll probably be kind of sludgy and not great. So we've also got another jar that we're going to strain it into. Basically, we've got a filter to help keep any pesky grounds out. So we're just gonna layer it all up like this. I think it'll stay. Cool. We're gonna open this guy. Very important, you kind of want to mix it up before you get going. It'll all settle in the bottom and get a little stiff. All right, so now we are just going to pour this through here. This is great. Great texture. And that's it. You'll let it strain. You can add anything you like to it. So a lot of people will do like half cold brew, half water, half cold brew, half milk. It's a thicker coffee than like a flash chilled normal iced coffee. But it's up to you to do whatever you want with it. Because of the bigger, richer flavor of cold brew, if you are gonna make this at home with our coffee, we would definitely suggest using our Tres Banderas blend. It's got some of those darker, chocolatier notes, and it's roasted for just a little bit longer, and that's gonna hold up really well in a brewing process like this. This will also keep for about 1 to 3 days in your refrigerator in an airtight container. So it's kind of nice that you can brew a bigger batch and you can enjoy it for a little bit longer amount of time. The next way that we can brew iced coffee is a very simple one with our instant coffee. There's a bunch of little packets in here of dehydrated coffee beans, which is really cool. You can just mix it in a cup of cold water, 8 to 10 ounces. There's instructions on the little packet. Mix it with water, mix it with milk if you're feeling a little sassy. Add ice and you're good to go. The next brewing method that we are going to talk about is iced pour-overs, which uses the flash chilling method of brewing coffee. So that's where you are brewing the coffee hot over ice. immediately making it cold. This is the method that we use in our cafes. We are huge proponents of it. Because you're brewing it hot and the brew time is faster, you get a lot more of the coffee's complexity and acidity. Flash chilled coffee tends to be bright, sweet, and refreshing. You can convert most pour over methods to an ice chill, and lucky for you, we have brewing guides for all of those on our website. You can do an iced Chemex, an iced AeroPress, an iced Kalita. I actually think that's it, but you can do all of those things and they all make really great cups of iced coffee. We'll put a link in the description, but if you want to just type it in with your own fingers, you can find those brewing guides at www.crema-coffee.com/learn. The last iced coffee method that we're going to talk about is iced espresso beverages, anything with espresso that's cold. We have a brew guide on our website for making espresso at home, and that is the most important part to making a good espresso-based drink. Because if your espresso does not taste good, then your espresso-based beverage is not going to taste good either. We've also got a couple tips and tricks if you're going to do iced espresso at home. First of all, if you are going to add syrup, make sure you add it to the hot espresso shot. If you try to mix in syrup at the end after ice is already involved, your syrup will probably get chunky, it won't mix in well, it won't taste very good. So make sure you mix it in with your hot espresso. That also goes with coffee in general. Mix in syrup while it's hot. It'll be so much better. And number two, if you want to enjoy espresso iced by itself over ice, do not pour a hot shot of espresso directly over ice. If you've extracted this beautiful shot of espresso, it's perfect, it's balanced, it's sweet. The minute you pour it over cold ice, all of that is it's gonna shock it, it's gonna go away, and you're gonna be very sad. So don't do that. Just put a little bit of water in the bottom of your cup, add in your espresso, and then top it off with ice, and you'll be good to go. My personal favorite way to enjoy cold espresso is with oat milk, a little bit of honey, some ice. It's really tasty. But all of Nashville's favorite way to enjoy iced espresso is in a drink called the iced Cuban, which we've pulled our super secret recipe out of the vault to bring it to you today. And that's being dramatic. It's actually not complicated, very easy, very simple, very cheap. And this is how you make it. Okay, so we've got a shot of espresso, of course. We've got 1/2 ounce of sweetened condensed milk out of this can of sweetened condensed milk, which is, I think, literally less than $1 at Kroger or your grocery store of choice. We've also got milk. You can use any milk, almond milk, whole milk, oat milk, some ice, and a cup, and a stir stick. First thing we're gonna do is take our hot shot of espresso and dump it into our syrup. Because it's hot, it'll mix better. We're gonna mix it up all the way. Make sure there's nothing left on the side. If you wanna get crazy, you can add a little extra syrup. No one's judging you. This looks great. We're gonna pour our milk into our cup. We've got 8 ounces of milk. This will altogether yield a 16-ounce iced latte. So you add the milk, you add the espresso and the sweetened condensed milk, top it off with ice. Try not to make too much of a mess. Probably could have had a little more ice, but that's okay. And you're good to go. Top it off with a straw, perhaps a metal, reusable, saving the world kind of straw, or a plastic one, or just don't use one at all. That's fine too. It's a delightful beverage. And that's iced coffee. If you want to learn more about brewing methods or coffee in general, you can head to our website at crema-coffee.com/learn. We've got all sorts of good stuff on there to help you brew good coffee at home. And we've also got links to sign up for our coffee classes. You can check that out on our website. As always, like, subscribe, leave a comment. Thanks for joining us today, and stay cool out there.